Good morning, seniors, and welcome to Advisory. I'm Mr. Kaiser, one of the counselors here at Roz.
And I'm Miss Sattler, another counselor here at Roz.
And today we want to talk to you about post-secondary plans. Today, December 19th, is the last time that you'll have a December 19th in your K through 12 education. A year from right now, many of you are going to be sitting in college classrooms, and we want to talk about that process. We already know that many of you have applied to college, many of you have already been accepted. What we really want to target this morning are those of you who haven't applied yet. We want to make sure that you know exactly what to do.
That's right. And it's important to know for every school you're applying to the process. There are different kinds of schools. Many of our students are applying to four-year schools where you receive your undergraduate bachelor degree, or two-year where you are able to obtain your associate's degree or a certificate. Wherever you are applying, please check the deadline and know when all of the materials need to be into that school. There are several different ways to apply. Certain schools will take an application online, some will take it on paper, and some will use what's called the common application, and we'll get into that a little bit later in this program. We're also going to cover Naviance and how we use that for the application process. And we will talk about letters of recommendation, the ACT, the SAT, and the AccuPlacer. But first and foremost, know what schools you're applying to and the process and deadlines before you get started.
So regardless of which school you apply to, you're going to have to release your private information so that we can release it to the colleges. And that happens through a document you find in Student Support Services that's we call the blue sheet because it's blue. And you'll need to sign it, and so will your parents.
Another important sheet found at the Student Services office that you will need to pick up is the pink sheet. And this sheet will have all your information on it that you will need to give to your teacher or counselor if you will need a letter of recommendation written for you. On this sheet, you will include information about yourself, activities you're involved in, whether at school, Roz, or through the community. And once your teachers and counselors have this, they'll be able to write the best letter of recommendation possible for you.
By now, most of you know how to use Naviance. Naviance is our post-secondary planning tool. And as you're in the process of applying for colleges, it really becomes a tracking device. All the different schools that you apply to may have different application procedures. Naviance is the place where you and Roz keep track of your college applications. On Naviance, you're going to find all the forms that you'll need, the ability to request recommendations from your counselor and from teachers. And as you're going through the process of using Naviance, remember to include all of your schools.
All right, back to a little bit more about letters of recommendations and the pink sheet. Be sure, just like deadlines, to check to see if this is a requirement that your school needs. Not all schools require a letter of recommendation, but make sure you know which schools do. Like I spoke earlier, if that's the case, you'll need to pick up a pink sheet and fill it out. And once that is complete, give it to Mrs. Stone or your teacher. However, it is very important that you ask the teacher in advance, a minimum of 2 weeks notice. You don't want to assume that the teacher will be able to, and then it's proper to give them as much notice in advance to make sure that they are going to be able to do this for you.
One of the important parts of the process of applying for colleges is to provide your official transcript. And that's done through a third-party vendor that we use called Parchment. Parchment will send your official transcript to the colleges that you want to have it sent to. Now, it will cost $3.50 per transcript, and it's all sent electronically. If for whatever reason you want to have one sent through the mail, it'll cost $5. So you'll need a credit card in order to send those transcripts. You'll access the Parchment website through the ROS website. If you have any questions about this process, stop into Student Support Services and ask Ms. Stone.
Next, I'm going to talk about the ACT. This stands for the American College Test, and it is a standardized test. This is used to predict how well students will do in college. And once again, please check when you're reviewing the colleges you're applying to whether or not you need to take the ACT. Most four-year colleges do require the ACT, but two-year colleges often do not. When you register for the ACT, it's important to include schools that you're applying to, because through this method you'll be able to send 4 score reports after you've taken the test for free to those schools that you're applying to. Otherwise, it will cost money to send them after you've taken the test. Please visit www.act.org to send your scores.
Most of you who are applying at a 4-year school will supply your ACT scores. Now understand there's another national standardized exam called the SAT, and that is used primarily by schools on the East and West Coast. If you're applying to schools on the East or West Coast, do contact them to see for sure if they're using SAT. If it is indeed the SAT, you'll have to contact SAT through their website. Those of you who will be going to a 2-year community or technical college won't have to take the ACT or SAT, but you will likely have to take a free exam called the AccuPlacer. And you should check with the community college or technical college for the dates and times. Again, it's not required for admission, but the colleges want to give you that exam so they know which classes to put you in.
Now I'm going to talk about the Common Application. This was created and used by many schools, many private schools and schools that are on either coast, that can ease the application process by just submitting one application that can go to many schools. Although, once again, make sure to see which schools do require the Common Application and which schools will need their own application. If you are applying to a school that does use the Common Application and this is the way you plan to apply, this will definitely require a pink sheet, as when you apply through the Common Application, a letter of recommendation from your counselor is mandatory. In addition, at least 1 or 2 evaluations from teachers are used through the Common Application.
So that'll do it for this advisory lesson. For the remainder of the time today, feel free to work on any college applications. Know that if you have any questions, please come on in and see your counselor, see Ms. Stone, see Ms. Tragi in the Career Center. We're here to help you. Deadlines, the first deadline was just last week, the 15th of December, University of Minnesota. Typically the first deadline for colleges and universities in the area, and now there'll be more and more. So it's something that if you haven't done yet, you're going to want to prioritize and begin this process as soon as possible. Stop in if you have any questions, and good luck.
Good luck.